Joining us now is Emily Compagno, co-host of Outnumbered on Fox News. Great show. Look, he's been telling the truth. I mean, we had the clip earlier in the show of Jonathan Karl from ABC News. I'm sure you know him. I've known him for years. Trump just answers calls and gives it back straight. He's been telling people, we're not going to be here for 6 months or a year or 5 years or 10 years. He's outlined it. And the amazing thing is how accurate his forecasting has been. I mean, the fog of war can be tricky, but here he's just telling people, and they still won't believe him.
I know. So the interesting thing about Jonathan Karl's commentary, he was doing a video, right? He was walking down the street in this particular time, and he talked about he was almost sort of flabbergasted. He said the president is taking my calls numerous times, and he says, including once where he was reading the media statement that he pressed send on, he submitted to the world while he was on the phone with me. And I note that, as you and I were just covering a moment ago, the New York Times Politico covered that the first Saturday, 11 days ago, of this action in Iran, President Trump was taking call after call after call at Mar-a-Lago by reporters, different ones, 7 different reporters, multiple different outlets, answering their questions substantively and honestly. And yet the qualifier was still something like, well, it's just off the cuff. It's not prepared statements. But the reality is that this is a commander-in-chief who has the backdrop of significant intelligence from which he's making his decisions and also reacting in real time to the events that are occurring. So I think the press is not used to a truly transparent president coupled with the decision-making in real time based on that intelligence that he receives and sharing it with the American public, because I don't think they've ever encountered, clearly, a commander-in-chief that actually serves the public, and so therefore speaks as a mouthpiece of such. So they're shocked that his word is true, but we're not.
He's unafraid. And you know, it's interesting. General Keane was just on him. Look, he's getting his information to a large extent from CENTCOM. And the CENTCOM people are terrific. They're brilliant. I mean, look at the performance in this war, for heaven's sakes. So Mr. Trump is absorbing that. I've seen him do this when I worked for him in Trump 1. He absorbs information, and he will talk to you about it, okay? And it may not be precisely 1,000% to the nickel accurate, okay? But he's giving you his assessment. Presidents don't do that anymore. They used to do that a long time ago, but they've stopped doing it until Trump. Now, the odd thing is the oil markets, the stock markets, the bond markets are listening to him. But the media, most of them don't listen to him. It's incredible to me.
Don't believe your lying eyes.
Yes.
I think, too, the rebound is important, because I think while people have equated this to prior actions nonsensically and also without sort of appreciating each one as its different beast, there was sort of some type of expectation that there would be a consistency for some reason all day, every day throughout. And I think the reality is that there's ups and downs in an action. And here's the president saying, well, for example, the media was trying to catch him on some type of disconnect between comments he had made and that of the Secretary of Wars. And the president came out and said, you can be both at the same time, actually. This can be the beginning and also a substantial step within. There can be a short-term pain in the markets while also serving our long-term interests for peace and stability without you guys capitalizing every second on something and try to bring the house down.
So, second point, just quickly, but will the American people stay with him and keep backing him? I mean, there's a million polls out there. I saw a Rasmussen poll, 52, 53% in favor of the Iranian action. Okay, but I know there are lots and lots of polls, and I don't live and die. In your gut, Emily, will they stay with? I mean, it's like Jack Keane. So oil goes to $3.50. Who cares? So it's a small price to pay to rid ourselves of a 50-year terror state that has relentlessly disrupted the entire world and killed a lot of American men and women in combat and so forth. Will America stay with Donald Trump on this one?
Yes, for 2 reasons that I think are important to note here in those polls. Number 1, the trend, and number 2, the language. So in that particular poll, for example, that you cited, the Rasmussen, the language was important and specific, and it was about specifically the nuclear capabilities and the ballistic missiles, right? Referencing the fact that we have lost so many to the Iranian regime and their proxies, and also the trends. Earlier in this action, there was a lower number of approval. And also, I think what's important to call out is the strong approval and the strong disapproval. That's a tiny number of the strong disapproval. So I think, again, usually trends go opposite. Usually in the exhaustion of war and the exhaustion of fatigue, and certainly in something like here where we have already expensed our most notable blood and treasure, which is the lives of U.S. service members, the public is quick to pull out support. The fact that it is increasing with each day goes to show that they are indeed seeing the forest for the trees. And I think it is also underscored by the Commander-in-Chief's deep sensitivity to that loss. The public knows that it is not without great gravity that the president orders troops into combat, whether it's aerial or not, and also sees that loss of treasure, of our most treasure, which is our men and women.
The ceremony at Dover was so important.
Yeah.
So important. Heart-wrenching.
Indeed.
I know. We talked about that the day it was on our number with you. I mean, it's a big thing. Anyway, Emily Compagno, thank you so much.
Thank you, Larry.
Appreciate it very much.